call this meeting to order with the flag salute.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd like to welcome the guests that are here this evening. Glad you could all make it. Is there anybody that needs Spanish translation? I don't think so. No? Okay. Moving on to item A3. If you've had a chance to review tonight's agenda, I'll accept a motion to approve.
I would actually like us to pull something from the agenda and let's see. Under administrative required approvals, I would like us to pull the OSD OEA bargaining agreement and turn that into C2 and then move superintendent comments to C3.
Okay, we have a motion to approve tonight's agenda with the change of adding item C2, which will be the voting on the collective bargaining agreement between the OSD and OEA.
Can you move the mic closer to your, sorry.
I can, but my computer's in the way.
Thank you.
So we have a motion. I'll need a second.
Second.
The second by Director Mike Garza. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 4-0. Moving on to item B1, public comment.
None, sir.
Do we have no public comment this evening? Item B2, recognition, some student recognition. I'll grab the mic and let's all go up front. Okay, so it's my pleasure to recognize the Othello Special Olympics gold medal winners that I think is pretty cool. Based on a little bit of history, based on last year's performance in unified soccer, this group was invited to go to the Special Olympics. And so that group went to the Special Olympics, and they won a gold medal, which is pretty cool. So we have a certificate for each one of you, and so I'll just, I don't know if everybody's here, but I'll just start announcing them off one by one, and then if you'd come up, and we'll give you the certificate, and then we'll take a picture here at the end. So Dusty Carlson is first. Josh Lemke. Let's see, Josh. Giselle Monroy. Candace Monahano. Vincent Monahano. Carlos Murillo, not here. Kristen Quiros. Hunter Sparks. And then the coaches come up. And are we missing anybody else? I think we're missing Natasha Montahano. Okay, we'll get you a certificate. And David. And I figured you wanted. Do you want to say a few words?
I would like to, if that's
Love you
okay.
too.
Thank
Sweet.
you.
Okay, why don't you do that, and then we'll take a.
Sounds Great. So I just want to say thank you so much to the Othello community. I know this is on Facebook Live, so hi, everybody. Thank you to the Othello community and the Othello School District for giving our athletes and partners this opportunity to be able to participate in Special Olympics and Special Olympics Unified through our high school program. A big thank you to the parents and families that came to Seattle and were able to watch and cheer on the team. A big thank you to our athletes, and I'm going to mention each one of our athletes real quickly here. Big thank you to Natasha. She has got the greatest smile, and I think that she knows the name of every single boy that we played against, and may even have some of their phone numbers. So she's awesome. Big thank you to Vincent. He is our all-star goalie. He was able to fend off the goalie during the last game, the most important game when we won the whole championship thing, and he did not let a single ball go through the goal. So very awesome. And Candace, I just want to thank her so much. The improvement she showed from day 1 to day 5 that we were there playing was absolutely amazing. We found out that Candace can run. So, and a great big thank you to all of our partners, Giselle and Riley and Dusty and Hunter, Christian and Carlos, for both their friendship and their support that they have shown to our athletes on and off the field. You've not only changed your lives, you've changed the lives of all of these athletes. Big thank you to Colton, the assistant coach. He was able to keep the parents all updated on what Coach Kevin was thinking, and he kept Coach Kevin organized, making sure he had his clipboard and made sure all the athletes had water and were doing the things that they were supposed to do. And most of all, a great big thank you to Coach Kevin McDonald. Kevin's always, and I kind of get in an argument sometimes, and I'm always, well, if this happens, and if we win, and if we get to go here, and he's like, no, it's when. When we win, this is what's going to happen. So I thank you so much for his positive spirit and being able to step back and relearn how to coach for a few games and making this team what it is today. So thank you very much.
Okay, we'll move to item B3, board member reports. Looks like we just have a legislative report tonight.
Yes, so I wanted to talk about a Supreme Court ruling that has just happened the end of June. It was U.S. Supreme Court. It's called Janus versus, I don't know if there's a code name for this, but it's AFSCME. So Janus versus that. The U.S. Supreme Court held that state laws requiring non-union members of public employers to pay agency fees to a union violate the First Amendment of the United States Constitution. According to the court, those fees require a public employee to fund a private organization with whom they may not want to associate or with whom they may disagree. Such agency fees are now unconstitutional. The court's opinion also includes language stating that union members must affirmatively consent to union membership and thus to the deduction of dues. And so there has been a change. Dr. Hurst emailed the board and said that now there has been a change that has taken place among district employees, that only if they affirmatively consent will they have membership dues removed from their checks. And so that affects many of our employees. And so I just thought that that was interesting legislative information.
Okay, and we can research that. I think everybody got an email today on the board about it, so I researched it a little bit, but good. Okay, moving on to item C1, required approvals. If you've had a chance to review these, I'll accept a motion to approve.
I'll make the motion to accept the required approvals.
I have a motion by Director Johnson to accept the required approvals.
Second.
Second by Director Mike Garza. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries 4-0. And then let me refresh my screen. If you haven't refreshed your screen, your board docs yet. Okay, item B2, or excuse me, C2, bargaining agreement between OSD and OEA. I'll accept a motion to approve.
Motion to approve?
A motion by Director Stevenson to approve the bargaining agreement between OSD and OEA.
I'll second.
Second by Director Garza. Any discussion?
I just want to say that I'm so glad this is over. I'm sure there's so many other people that think the same, and that finally a hopefully happy agreement among all parties has been reached and agreeable. Yay, this one's done. I'm sure there's so many others that say the same, but that everyone, blood, sweat, and tears, sleepless nights, other such things, depending upon whatever stress level it takes to get through these kinds of things. But hopefully everyone is extremely happy with this arrangement.
Okay.
I concur. I'm glad it's behind us now, and we can, well, there's a lot of the folks have been working throughout the summer and planning up for next year, but hopefully this being behind them makes them concentrate a little more and gives district staff, lets them do a few things that they had pending prior to this. So like Jen said, I believe as a board member, this is a very fair, equitable agreement. Our teachers deserved what they got, and I just hope that we continue on making this district the place to be. I hope this agreement attracts the right educators to the district, and that everything is for the good.
Like I say, I agree too. I'm very happy how it went. I'm very happy that the state finally stepped up with the McCleary decision, and we were able to help get the teachers to where they should have been a long time ago. And I'm really impressed with how the whole system went. And I know there's a lot of other activity going on around the state, and I know several districts have been using our examples for their districts too. And like I say, I'm really happy that the outcome of it.
Okay. Yeah. I guess we're ready to vote now. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries 4-0. So you can let the membership know it's finally official. It was official on Facebook a month ago, but
Right.
it's official for real now. Officially official. And great. Item C3, superintendent's comments. Chris, are you planning on giving a report or just?
No, sir, I didn't have a report, just we put it in there for information, and we'll take any questions that board directors have this time.
There was one item there I thought
Can you
that
move
was,
that closer?
there
Sorry.
was one item there I thought was going to be on the agenda this week, and that was the budget.
I did want to clarify, so I said we did not have a report, but I remember a conversation I had with a director. I did want to share looking at C22 update on cost analysis for the K through 8. And just wanted to share briefly where we are with that. When you look at what we have written up, we had a meeting with Phil Crocker, Tita Crocker, this past Friday.
Can you pull up that document? Well,
Yep.
with the timeline on it, please. Sorry, while you're talking.
And there was an initial timeline which said, and we had committed to the board that we'd have all the information in today's board meeting. In our meeting with Tita Crocker, or Phil Crocker, he shared that there were some things that hindered him, mainly just getting with staff here at the district and being able to perform the functional analysis. So that kind of put him behind the power curve. So when we met with him, he had to adjust his timeline, so he put it to today to get just documents to us. So we do have draft documents where he has done the functional analysis. So that piece is done. We can make that information available to the board. We're synthesizing those documents right now, but what it is, it's a walkthrough of all of those facilities and looking at the space and what we want them to be for the K through 8. So we can share that with the board, and then as needed we can share with the public as well, as directed by the board. But then our next steps now is we've taken that information and we're sending it to Architects West. So they then take the functional analysis and then they say, okay, now let's do a cost analysis for the walkthrough and the functional analysis. So we anticipate having that conference call, as it says here, August 3rd. And again, we don't necessarily have to wait for the next board meeting, even though we say the next board meeting, August 13th, we can actually make that information available as soon as we get that information. So just for the public's information, we have the functional analysis right now. We can make that available to the board, and then once we receive the cost analysis from Architects West, August the 3rd, we can make that available to the board and to the public right away. So again, we just had to adjust the timeline just a little bit because just getting with personnel and because of the timing also during the summer.
When do you expect to give access to the documents that you're synthesizing now?
We have those documents. I think Pete and I, we talked briefly today. We're going to synthesize those real quickly, and we can get them to the board probably within the next day or two.
Okay.
And then to the public right
and
away.
then what is your plan, and how is it to get it out to the public?
That can probably be posted on our webpage, and then we could probably send out a Blackboard message just letting the public know that it's posted on our webpage.
Okay. I think that sounds reasonable. Unfortunate that there had to be an extended timeline, since I know that it's all a function of the budget that we're going to be looking at on the 13th as well.
Right.
But I understand that that's beyond your control.
Mm-hmm.
But
And again, I pose to the board, it doesn't have to wait to the 13th. It could be
Right.
sooner than that. We'll have the information to us on the 3rd.
is that something that we want to have a special meeting for, to look at those numbers before the 13th? Or we just want to look at those numbers on the 13th along with the budget for the upcoming year?
It's up to the board as far as that. I'm okay with waiting until the 13th, but if the rest of the board wants to have a special meeting, the majority rules, so. Is there anybody else that feels like we need to do that?
I'd say after we review the documents, we'll see the need for.
That's what I was just thinking. After we review it, then we'll.
Okay, that's, I mean, I'm happy with not having another meeting. I'm totally fine with that, but just, okay.
Okay, and then Ken, you had a question?
According to the budget timeline, we were going to be discussing part of the budget tonight. And I noticed there was nothing related to the budget on the agenda tonight.
Yes, I did talk with Becky, the consultant that we're working with, and she said there didn't appear to be questions from the board, so she did not feel a need to be present this evening, but it is on the board agenda for next board meeting and the next board meeting after that.
Okay. Is it made available electronically right now?
We
Or could it be
can
found?
put it on the website for public, for the preliminary board budget.
Yes. Well, actually, according to there's some new outlines in RCWs that just took effect that one of them states that it has to be posted electronically. It's under RCW 28A 505, I believe.
Does it say how many days it has to be?
Well, it was supposed to be posted on or before July 10th electronically and also submitted to PSC and the state and made available electronically.
So the preliminary was supposed to be made available by July 10, and we don't have to approve it until,
No, not the preliminary budget, the budget and the 4-year budget plan.
So I do know, I was speaking with Becky, she did submit it to ESD 123, and she did a 4-year projection as well. I think that's part of her presentation on the next board meeting. So that has been submitted to ESD.
So will you find out if it's,
Electronically posted?
yeah,
Yes, sir.
and where it is, and then let the board know?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Is there any other questions from item C3? Okay, so we'll move on to item D1, board response to monitoring documents. We'll start with EL6. I'll go through the survey items like we normally do and talk about any comments. So I'll read EL6 just for those who are online. EL6 reads, with respect to execution of the budget and the actual ongoing condition of the district's financial health, the superintendent shall not cause or allow a material deviation from the annual budget or the budget policy adopted by the board, cause or allow any fiscal condition that is inconsistent with achieving the board's ends or places the long-term financial health of the district in jeopardy. Therefore, the superintendent shall not cause or allow a failure to settle payroll and debts in a timely manner, reports or filing required by any state or federal agency to be overdue or inaccurately filed, a failure to consistently and fairly pursue receivables after a reasonable grace period, a failure to publish a financial condition statement annually as part of the district's annual report to the public. So the SurveyMonkey question 1, a failure to settle payroll and debts in a timely manner. 4 board members took this answered. 2 found in compliance, 1 in compliance with exception, and 1 out of compliance. And I'll read the comments and then we can discuss it. Unfortunate as it was, a major blunder around the United Healthcare failure to cancel on time for a few employees caused a payout that never should have happened. Hiring people to double check each other and the employee not hiding it and admitting a mistake would have saved the district thousands. Is one comment. The other comment is a failure to stay on top of employee health insurance premiums costing the district is the reason for non-compliance in this area. I believe measures are now in place to assure this kind of oversight will not happen in the future. So first of all, 3 in compliance, 1 not in compliance. So, or in compliance with an exception, which is in compliance.
right. So I'm the in compliance with an exception, and I am comment number 1. And then there has been attached to the bottom of this, let's see, what's it called? A response, excuse me, by Chris regarding the UHC issue. And after reading this and finding out from the original person that we were originally told was hiding the mistake, that does not look like that is what the case was. We were, I think, misinformed as to the events that took place, and it looks like we never should have made that payout. I would change my vote at this time to now say in compliance and strike my comment.
Okay. I had the not in compliance on the other statement, obviously, that went with it. I read the document. To me, it didn't really change my mind. I don't think the money should have been paid. And so to me, it still makes it not in compliance because even if it should have never, it was paid in the end. And so
Yes.
by paying it, we admitted fault from my view as a district. But if we thought we were completely not at fault, then we shouldn't have paid it, from my view. But sounds like three. I don't know who the board member was that didn't do the survey.
I didn't, I was not able to do it.
But it's unless even if Mike chose not in compliance, it'd still be 3-2. So
I would vote in compliance as well after reading the document.
okay.
And I mean, yes,
think
I
it's a
understand.
It's a timing issue of when
Yes.
when this was discovered and when we were given the information.
Mhm.
Yeah, there's some truth to what Tony's saying as well, though, where the money was dispersed, you know.
Mhm. And we
Um,
can't get that back.
But,
Right.
yeah, I would vote for in compliance.
Okay. So with in compliance, I don't think it'd be appropriate to have a comment that
I
says
agree.
it's not in compliant with an incompliant vote. So
'Kay.
I think that takes care of the comments. Item 2, reports or filing required by any state or federal agency to be overdue or inaccurately filed. 3 in compliance, 1 in compliance with an exception. The comment was, no evidence was shown to us on filing reports in a timely manner or request for an extension.
That was my comment. Just on the reports, when we receive them, it'd be nice to have dates when the reports were actually filed and the deadline dates, so we know that they are actually being filed on time and stuff. There was nothing of that showing.
Yeah,
That would be convenient, I agree.
sure. Here.
Just a clarifying question to the board members. So as I looked at this item, I realized that there's a number of reports that are being filed on a regular basis. Are there, are you looking just for samples
Well, the first
of
one,
evidence?
the first one that come to my attention was the F-196.
Okay,
And that, we only received an email saying that it was
That we had
closed, and
si-
that was in December, and I
Mhm.
know they're due on October 25th, I believe. And I know you're eligible for extensions, and there was just no other dating I seen there.
so if we're submitting evidence from a couple of areas, is that?
Yes,
Okay,
yes, just a couple areas. I mean, I'm not looking for every
Okay.
No.
report, just a few to show that
okay,
they are on a timely manner.
awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, and just to clarify, and my perception of what this means is overdue means it's past due. So if they got a legal exception, then to me it's
Yeah.
still on time. But
Okay.
Question 3, a failure to consistently and fairly pursue receivables after a reasonable grace period. 4, found in compliance, none out of compliance. Question 4, a failure to publish a financial condition statement annually as part of the district's annual report to the public, all found in compliance. So overall, EL6 will be in compliance with no exceptions and no comments. And that'll be approved in the next board meeting with the actual monitoring response document. EL7 is the next one. And I'll go ahead and read that executive limitation statement. The superintendent shall not fail to ensure the district's facilities are adequate, safe, clean, inviting, and conducive to teaching and learning. Therefore, the superintendent shall not cause or allow 1, a failure to maintain a long-range 10-year plan for maintaining and developing facilities, including a program or preventive maintenance. This plan should be updated at least every 5 years. 2, any person to acquire, encumber, or dispose of real property without approval of the board. 3, actions that violate or materially deviate from voter-approved building and renovation projects, state law, state regulations, procurement code, or building codes. 4, a failure to provide the board the current plan for public use of buildings and grounds that includes a definition of permitted uses, a fee schedule that is supportive of community needs, clear delineation of user expectations, consequences, and enforcement procedures for public users who fail to follow the established rules. 5, a failure to provide and maintain an evacuation plan for all facilities. 6, a failure to obtain insurance coverage against theft, casualty, and liability losses in accordance with risk management pool direction. Okay, so the survey itself. Question 1, a failure to maintain a long-range 10-year plan for maintaining facilities, including program and preventative maintenance. This plan should be updated at least 5 years. 2 found in compliance, 1 in compliance with an exception, and 1 not in compliance. And the comments are, the evidence provided to us shows how a new plan will be built without any reflection on the current plan that should be in place. And comment number 2, you are beginning to work towards this goal, but I have seen no evidence of a long-range plan. Discussion from the board on that.
Is there a current plan that we have in place?
So as I shared in the document, our work with Teeter Crocker or Phil Crocker is leading to that 10-year plan. But to answer your question, there's not a current 10-year plan.
And that's how I based my evaluation. My comment's the first one, because we don't have a current, I know we are building one, but we currently don't have one. And that's what the survey was asking.
Yeah. My comment was the second one. Because I knew we didn't have a current plan, and so to me it's, I think I put not in compliance, but I could have put the exception one. I can't remember. If you put not in compliance, then I put the other one. You put in compliance with an exception?
Yes.
Okay, then I put not in compliance because we don't have a plan.
I
currently.
thought I did one of those. I maybe was button happy on getting past it, but I would have picked one of those as well.
Okay. Mike, since you didn't do,
I would say that because there isn't one in place, it can't be in compliance.
okay, so that's out of compliance. Which statement or both does the board want to keep?
Can we keep both? I think, or should we modify it to reflect both? I think both would be better.
Okay.
I'd be okay with leaving number 1 because it does reference that there is a new plan that will be built. And that's basically, you're saying that
Number 2 is
there
basically
isn't
the
one
same
there.
thing.
Yep.
I'm okay with comment 1.
I'd be okay with keeping the first comment.
Sure. So we're changing to not in compliance, is that correct?
For question 1.
Yes,
Yeah, not
Yes.
for the-
just solely
I would-
for that one,
Yep.
right? Okay.
Okay, question 2, any person to encumber, acquire, or dispose of real property without approval of the board. 4 found in compliance. Question 3, 4 found in compliance. Question 4, 4 in compliance. Question 5, 4 in compliance. Item 6, 4 in compliance. So everything else is in compliance. So overall, 5 of the 6 provisions were found in compliance. Does the board want that to be in compliance with that exception, or the whole policy not in compliance due to the one item?
That's a major part of a short and long-term plan.
It is. It's just, but it's only one. The short and
Right.
One
long-term plan is
area
only
of it.
one
Right.
area of the
I
6.
know.
The
Definitely at
the
least the
overarching
exception.
statement is the main one. which is the superintendent shall not fail to ensure that district facilities are adequate, safe, clean, inviting, conducive to teaching and learning.
And it meets all those.
Yes.
It just, the planning.
And then the long-term plan is part of that. If you don't have a long-term plan, then you can't have adequate facilities
So then,
forever, right?
right, with that specific thing, then I would say in compliance with an exception.
Okay,
Me as well.
Mike as well,
Me
Ken?
as well.
Okay, so EL 7 will be in compliance with an exception, and when you add the comment, can you make sure that it clearly directs that comments about the long and short, the facilities plan itself? So instead of doing the comment word for word, put something in there that says in relation to the long and short-term facilities plan, comma, the evidence provided. Does that make sense? So then it's easy for the community to understand where that comment's pointing to.
And when we read this in a year at our retreat, we'll understand where we're
Right.
at.
Yep. It's EO 14. The superintendent shall not fail to make progress towards a balance in student diversity across all schools in the district, specifically our ELL, special education, and low-income student populations. So the Survey Monkey, 2 found in compliance, 2 in compliance with the following exceptions. The comments read as follows. Comment number 1, this report and past reports shows there has been very little change in variation in our most populous ELL elementary school when compared to our least populous ELL elementary school, while the other 2 areas are fairly well balanced. I cannot agree that progress towards balance, specifically in ELL, has been achieved. While the board found this policy to be out of compliance last year, and there has been little change, I am choosing compliance due to the fact that SPED has been added to the policy to change it somewhat. I am happy to hear there is more focus in this area for the coming year and look forward to seeing the results. I'm assuming that that's Director Simmons because it's really long, but I'm just making an assumption.
It's not mine. It's not mine.
He's not here to defend himself, so it's even funnier. And comment number 2, while we are making progress towards complete balance, we still have work to do in this area. Your suggestions for further improvement look like a great step. So first thing, I guess, everybody found it in compliance, some with an exception, some not. The decision to keep the comment or not, from my view, will be whether or not it's with an exception or not. But do we discussion? Should we keep one of those comments?
Well,
where does
I
the
think,
board
Mike, you
stand?
might be the tie in the in compliance or in compliance with an exception.
It's in compliance with the exception, and I'd like the second comment, whoever made that, because I think it synthesizes without as much detail. as the
You don't
first
want all the super long.
Okay, Jen, what do you think?
I personally like the long comment because it does refer back to that the year before it was out of compliance. And sometimes when you go back to read these later, the specifics are helpful to go, okay, SPED was great, but ELL wasn't. So I would say leave in comment 1
Okay.
over
Okay.
2.
I agree on leaving comment 2. So
Okay.
we got to
Split.
split.
Well, I haven't decided.
But,
Ish.
Yeah.
What do you think,
It's
Tony?
2 to 1 right now. I was fine with either comment, so I'll go with comment number 2. And in compliance with the exception. That one I think is fine the way it's worded because it says we instead of I, and so it should be fine just to put that in there where there's only one question. Okay, I agree with both comments, so I look forward to more progress, Dr. Hurst,
Awesome.
as we go along. So that's it with D1. D2, we have one board self-monitoring Survey Monkey that was done for GP13. I'll read that one as well. GP13 states, It is the responsibility of the Board of Directors to establish the boundaries of internal director districts of the school district and to redistrict the director districts as necessary. The Board of Directors, with the assistance of the administration, the Educational Service District, and the State Redistricting Commission, will develop a plan or propose director districts within 8 months of any of the following events. The OEA is not here anymore. The ESD is ESD, right? That's not the local union. Okay,
ESD.
just want to make sure. A, receipt of federal decennial census data. B, consolidation of the district with one or more other districts. C, transfer of territory to or from the district. D, annexation of territory to or from the district. Or E, approval by a majority of the district's voters of a proposal to divide the district into director districts. On the question, there's just one, and 4 in compliance, 1 in compliance with an exception. And the comment is this is in compliance because none of the events occurred to trigger the need to develop a plan. So I don't know if that comment's from an exception or not.
I don't think so, because it seems like it says it's in compliance. So supporting the in compliance.
Okay. So I think we're in compliance here. Does
Yeah, we're in
anybody-
compliance.
Okay.
None of the actions were taken. I mean, none of those items were triggered to do it.
Okay. All right. So
We don't need the
GP13
comment,
will
do
be
we?
in compliance.
I don't think we need the
think so.
comment.
And there is no items in policy review or executive session. No need for executive session. Sure.
Just wanted to clarify, I did have the opportunity to look at that RCW that you just referred to, Ken, the RCW 28 Alpha 505060. It does say that the budget process is complete August the 31st, once it's adopted by the board.
Yes.
And that's when it has to be posted electronically, once it's adopted by the board. The July the 10th date is for OSPI and ESD 123 review, and we did meet that deadline.
Did you look at .40 and .50 also?
0.40 and 0.50, I'll look
Yes.
at that.
Take a look at those real
Okay.
quick.
Okay.
Thank you.
Then, so we'll move on to item G, upcoming events. We have August 7th and 8th is when registration for the middle school and the 2 high schools is. August 9th is the elementary school registrations. August 13th is a special board meeting for the budget hearing. That'll be here in the OSD boardroom from 6 to 7. And August 20th will be the new teacher breakfast. We still don't have a time yet.
Not just,
Okay, just let us know as soon as you can.
Okay.
The time. August 21st is all staff orientation.
As a board, I know that we talked about, we're planning on attending the new teacher breakfast. Are we planning on attending the orientation as well?
In the past, it's the board members just need to let Dr. Hurst know if you're attending or not. It's really not a formal.
Okay.
We don't attend it formally as a board. Just if there's a quorum there, it needs to be announced, and so they just
Okay.
need to know.
For the purpose of quorum only.
In the past, the president of the board has given a statement, I think, at both of those events, but it's not required, and it's up to the president to decide if he wants to do that or not. But it's mainly just to make sure the public knows that there's a potential quorum
Okay,
at
thank
those
you.
events. But since I've been on the boards, there's probably been a quorum, the majority of them, but I don't know that, I couldn't say that every single one that the full boards, for sure the full board hasn't been to every single one, but a quorum probably.
Thank you.
So then August 23rd is the first day of school. August 24th is Hiawatha's movie night for PTO. And and that's at 6:30. And the 28th is the first day of kindergarten. Is there any events that the board's aware of that have been missed that are not regular meetings?
So this doesn't really apply to a school district thing, but we're having, the old hotel and the Othello Community Museum is having a historical lecture on this Saturday at 2 p.m. at the museum, and it's called D. Otis Curry, Separating the Murderer from the Myth. You're all invited to attend, and it should be a very interesting lecture with
Okay.
refreshments and tour of the murder location following
Great.
at the hotel.
Great. Any other items? Okay, so move on to G2. If you would complete your SurveyMonkey assessing this meeting, and then we'll go through that. Okay, it looks like everybody's done. The agenda was well planned to focus on the real work of the board. Commendable. The board followed its agenda and did not allow itself to get sidetracked. Commendable. The board's deliberation and decision-making processes were public. Commendable. All board members participated in discussion. No one dominated. Commendable. And members listed attentively, avoiding side conversations. Commendable. Item 2, board actions occurred at the policy level rather than operational level. All yes. The board agenda referenced policy about each topic that was discussed. 3 yes, 1 no.
I was the no, we usually have what is referring on.
Mm-hmm. I think you're correct there. There were no additional policies written this evening, so that one is not applicable. The board chair helped the board efficiently conduct its meeting. 4 yes. The board supported the superintendent in any reasonable interpretation of his policies. 4 yes. Overall, the meeting was commendable. And I wrote myself a comment
What
just
was
for
that? That's an
just for
interesting comment. Are you going to
President
send
Simmons.
this to the current president so he can read all of this?
Just let the record state that since President Simmons has been the board president, I don't think he's ever had a such a glowing report
Oh,
like the
dear.
past president has. I've learned about memorializing, so I'd like to memorialize my comments. If there's no other items, I'll adjourn this meeting. The meeting is adjourned.